What happens when the strongest heroes and villains clash in epic battles you've never imagined? Welcome to Mythic Battleverse, where legends collide and you decide the victor. Be part of the battle. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share your ultimate battle ideas in the comments. Let's shape the Mythic Battleverse together.
The multiverse quivered on the edge of annihilation. Countless realities flickered like fragile candle flames in the wind, their survival teetering against an unseen force. In the infinite realms of existence, two monumental powers prepared for a collision destined to reshape the fabric of creation itself. It began with a scream, a sound so vast and resonant that it reverberated across dimensions, rending the barriers between universes. This was no ordinary scream. It carried the agony of billions, the collapse of uncountable civilizations, and the despair of a multiverse unraveling. Cosmic armor. Superman, a guardian of narrative causality itself, awoke within the monitor sphere. His golden body, inscribed with the glyphs of endless stories, pulsed with an intensity that mirrored the urgency of the moment. The multiverse calls, he spoke, his voice echoing beyond time and space. The monitors, beings who existed to observe, turned their attention to him. Their faces bore expressions of grave concern. A force rises, one of them intoned. It consumes not just worlds, but the essence of existence, a void. Superman's eyes blazed with the realization of what he faced. The void, the shadowy manifestation of Robert Reynolds, the Sentry. But this was no ordinary threat. Sentry had transcended his limitations, fully embracing the destructive chaos of the void while retaining the boundless light of his heroic self. This fusion created a being unlike anything the multiverse had ever seen, a destroyer and savior entwined, whose power rivaled the greatest cosmic forces. Elsewhere in a dimension engulfed by swirling black and golden energy, Robert Reynolds floated amidst the ruins of countless worlds. His golden aura flickered like a dying star, contrasting against the inky tendrils of the void swirling within him. His face bore a tortured expression, torn between his innate heroism and the seductive whisper of destruction. "They fear me," the void murmured, its voice coiling around his thoughts. "And why shouldn't they? You are power incarnate, Robert. No law, no being, no narrative can contain you." Reynolds clenched his fists, the energy crackling around him, igniting entire solar systems in the distance. "I wanted to save them," he whispered. "But now..." His voice grew stronger. "Now I'll reshape everything. The weak stories that bind us will burn. A new order will rise. My order." As he spoke, a cascade of light and shadow erupted from his body, spreading outward in a wave of reality-shattering force. Universes blinked out of existence, their remnants drawn into the endless maw of his being. Cosmic armor. Superman stood at the edge of the dimensional breach. Before him lay the remnants of a dozen universes, their once vibrant energies twisted and corrupted. He stepped forward, his golden armor gleaming with the hopes of uncountable lives. "Sentry," he called out, his voice a clarion of authority that rippled across the void. "Stop this madness. You're better than this." From the swirling chaos emerged Sentry, his form a terrifying amalgamation of light and shadow. His golden eyes burned with unmatched intensity, while the dark tendrils of the void coiled around him like serpents. "Better." Sentry's voice was a mix of amusement and scorn. "You speak of better as if it's something defined by these fragile laws of existence. Superman, can't you see? I've become more than a man, more than a hero. I am everything." Superman's gaze hardened. "You're not everything. You're a man who's lost his way. And if I have to stop you to protect the multiverse, I will." Sentry tilted his head, a dark smile creeping across his face. "Stop me! You're a construct, Superman, a tool of the monitors, a puppet of narrative. What are you compared to me?" Before Superman could respond, Sentry unleashed a surge of energy so immense that it tore through dimensions, shattering the very fabric of causality. Superman raised a hand, his armor glowing with the collective strength of 1,000,000,000,000 stories. He absorbed the onslaught, the glyphs on his body pulsing as they rewrote the attack's narrative into harmless light. But the battle had only begun. The void emerged from behind Sentry, its massive shadow spreading like an eclipse. It lunged at Superman, its tendrils aiming to consume his essence. With a mighty roar, Superman countered, his fist colliding with the void's form, generating a shockwave that sent ripples through the multiverse. The clash of energies illuminated the void like a cosmic supernova, each strike a symphony of destruction and creation. Planets disintegrated in their wake, entire timelines unraveling as their powers collided. Despite his immense strength, Superman felt the weight of Sentry's assault. "You cannot win, Superman," Sentry growled. "You're bound by rules. I am bound by nothing." "You're wrong," Superman replied, his voice unwavering. "I'm bound by purpose, and that's stronger than chaos." As the battle raged, the multiverse itself began to distort, unable to contain the raw power of the two titans. The monitors watched in silence, their faces grim. They knew that the outcome of this battle would determine not just the fate of their multiverse, but the fate of existence itself. As Sentry unleashed a final devastating attack, a surge of golden light entwined with the darkest shadows, cosmic. Armor Superman stood tall, his golden armor blazing with an intensity that defied comprehension. The glyphs on his body shifted, forming symbols of hope, resilience, and determination. The void whispered ominously, its voice a siren song of despair. "This is your end, Superman. Yield." But Superman did not falter. With every fiber of his being, he prepared for the ultimate confrontation, a clash that would decide the fate of all things. The cosmos itself seemed to hold its breath. Time, space, and narrative tension hung in a delicate balance as the Titans stood poised for their final devastating clash. Every moment crackled with raw energy, a palpable storm of light and shadow threatening to tear apart reality. This was not merely a fight, it was the crescendo of existence, the meeting of purpose and chaos in their purest forms. Sentry struck first. A beam of golden energy surged from his outstretched hands, intertwining with tendrils of the void. The attack hurtled toward cosmic armor Superman, collapsing stars and fracturing dimensions in its path. Superman's golden body gleamed brighter, the glyphs across his form shifting into new configurations. With a motion that defied comprehension, he raised his hand and caught the attack, absorbing its narrative threads into his armor. "Your power is incredible, Sentry," Superman said, his voice reverberating across all planes of existence. "But you've lost yourself. Chaos without purpose is destruction. I will not allow that." Sentry snarled, the void amplifying his rage. "You speak as though you understand. I am not chaos, I am freedom. The freedom to tear down the chains that bind us all." With a roar, he surged forward, his fists colliding with Superman's golden chestplate. The impact sent a ripple of force cascading through the multiverse, shattering entire realities and unraveling timelines. Superman countered with a strike of his own, each blow imbued with the hopes and dreams of uncountable lives. The two titans clashed again and again, each collision a cataclysmic event reshaping the battlefield. The battlefield was no longer confined to a single dimension. The fight spanned infinite realms, each universe bending and breaking under the strain. In one reality, planets dissolved into streams of energy as Superman hurled Sentry through an entire galaxy. In another, the void enveloped Superman, seeking to consume his essence. Yet the glyphs on his armor burned brighter, rewriting the void's narrative and forcing it to retreat. Sentry unleashed his full power. Golden light and shadow merged into a singularity, an attack so powerful that it threatened to erase existence itself. "This ends now, Superman!" Sentry bellowed, his voice shaking the foundations of the multiverse. Superman's glyphs shifted again, their symbols forming a story of unity and resilience. "No, Sentry!" Superman said, his voice calm, yet unwavering. "This ends with hope." He surged forward, his armor blazing with a light that dwarfed even Sentry's golden aura. Their final clash erupted in a cataclysmic explosion of light and shadow, a singular moment that transcended all understanding. When the light faded, the multiverse held its breath. Superman stood tall, his golden armor dim but unbroken. Before him knelt Sentry, his golden aura flickering weakly. The void's tendrils had receded, leaving Robert Reynolds' human form exposed. He looked up at Superman, his eyes filled with a mixture of awe and despair. "I failed," Sentry whispered. Superman extended a hand. "You haven't failed, Robert. You've been lost. But it's not too late to find your way back." As Sentry took Superman's hand, the multiverse began to heal. The cracks in reality mended, the distorted timelines realigned, and the stories of countless lives continued. The monitors watched in silent respect, knowing that cosmic armor Superman had once again safeguarded existence itself. The multiverse was safe. The story had found its hero.